A question about enzymes and how they work. So here it says, describe one similarity and one difference between the induced fit model and the lock and key model of enzyme action. So we're going to get 1 mark for a similarity and 1 mark for a difference. Now, in terms of similarities, with both models, we're saying that the substrate binds to the enzyme's active site. Now, a lot of students will just say the substrate binds to the enzyme. That is not good enough. We need to specify where. So we can say the substrate binds to the enzyme's active site, and that's in both the lock and key and the induced fit model. Or as an alternative, in both models, you can say enzyme substrate complexes form, because that's what we call it, isn't it? When the substrate is bound to the enzyme's active site. So that would be our similarity. In terms of differences, there's 2 ways you can get the mark. So the difference between lock and key and induced fit is in the induced fit, the active site changes shape. And obviously you'd go on to say that in the lock and key model, the active site does not change shape. Or as an alternative for marking point 2, we can say in the induced fit model, the active site is not complementary to the substrate. And what I mean by that is initially, when the enzyme is not attached to the substrate, initially the active site is not perfectly complementary. It actually becomes complementary as the substrate binds to the active site and the active site can change shape. So induced fit, the active site is not complementary to the substrate. Obviously, you'd go on to say that in the lock and key, the active site is complementary. And that's what we learn at GCSE, isn't it? At GCSE, we think of the active site as already being complementary and not changing shape. Whereas with the induced fit, we're saying actually it's not initially complementary and it changes shape to become complementary as the substrate binds to the active site. It's more like a hand and a glove than a lock and a key. So that's our question for today. I hope you found that useful.